Well, in the short term, one of the main jobs the IFA has to do is work with the European Commission, work with the Department of Agriculture, the Minister for Agriculture, and other farming organisations in Europe to protect the single farm payment. And this morning here at the Teagasc Beef Conference, the value of the single farm payment was clearly highlighted, that in most cases for dry stock farmers, it forms 100% of their income. So it's very clear how important this protection is. We've formed very strong alliances with French farming organisation, the FSNA, with the German farming organisations, and both those organisations have good access to the governments in their countries. So much so at this stage, the debate has moved on. 2 years ago, a lot of the debate was, will there be a single farm payment post-2013? Nobody is saying that now at the moment, and they're all saying there will be, and that it will be funded into the future. Already the European Commissioner Scholz plus the Commission are saying that 2013 and 2014 will be rolled over on the present model, because there's no agreement across Europe on a new scheme, and there is an acceptance that farmers are so dependent on it. So we're pushing very hard to protect the single farm payment for active farmers and to make sure that no farmer who has built up a reasonable single farm payment through investment in his farm, in breeding stock and machinery, takes any cut. So that's our message to the Minister for Agriculture, the Department, the European Parliament and the European Commission is that the present system has worked reasonably well in Ireland. There will have to be national reserve to deal with new entrants, but otherwise there's no reason for any big change, and we're saying to stick with the same system until a better one can be proposed, and no such system has been proposed as yet. Another major issue for the IFA at the moment are the Mercosur talks. Mercosur and WTO talks are international trade talks that go on to deal with imports of food into the European Commission. And we put huge pressure on a couple of years ago to shove out a WTO trade deal. But in the last few months, the Commissioner for Trade, Commissioner de Gucht, along with the President of the European Commission, is trying to revitalise a Mercosur trade deal with Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay. Now again, we've put a lot of pressure on in Europe, particularly with the French, and all our Irish MEPs have taken a strong stance on this, because we're saying at a time where the beef industry has a lot to offer, you can clearly see the amount of jobs that are in the industry, the jobs at farm level, the jobs in marts here like this, the jobs in processing, the jobs in the whole food industry. Those jobs are vital to Ireland. And this is definitely a time that we cannot afford to have a deal done with South America that would allow Brazilian beef damage the European market at a time when costs, fuel, fertiliser and feed are so high for beef farmers. We need further price rises, not competition from countries like South America that don't meet any of our European standards. Also here today, one of the things that was clearly evident was where farmers have closer activity and that their advisors are visiting them on the farm, like the Better Farm programme where 16 farmers are involved, that the gross margin has risen. We've been clearly saying that there is need for more advisors on the ground, and certainly the discussion groups have to be extended to the beef and sheep sector. They're already in the dairy sector and 6,000 farmers are taking part in them. We need the same level of access for beef and sheep farmers, which is very important. Very strong support from both the French and German governments on the future of the single farm payment. Both of them are taking a very strong stance that they want no cuts, that the budget has to be fully funded, that there cannot be a cut in the national envelopes, and they're looking for maximum flexibility for the countries. Countries like France want more coupling. They have their suckler cow herd still coupled, and they intend to continue doing that. So there is, at the two major countries in Europe, the French and the Germans, who put substantial funding into the Common Agricultural Policy, are very strong on defending the existing system and giving countries flexibility. So we're very happy with the alliances we've formed there. On the Mercosur, the strongest alliance we have is with the French, because they're very strong. They have a farming system pretty similar to Ireland, bigger scale, but same number of dairy cows as suckler cows, very dependent on the beef price across Europe, and they do not want a Mercosur deal. And the President of France, Sarkozy, has made very strong statements. Also our own Taoiseach and Kenny, our Minister for Agriculture, they have made very strong statements on this. So it's very important that the Commission get the message that there is no demand on the ground for a deal at the moment. And the European Parliament only 2 weeks ago voted for the Commission to move much slower, because for the Commission to be moving fast and given the countries that there's no gain for Europe. Any deals done with Brazil and Argentina in the past were all one-sided. Gain for them, no gain for Europe. And agriculture and food security are so important to the world and Europe in the short term. A Mercosur deal that would damage the future of agriculture would be bad for the whole European community and economies. First of all, we're saying that the Irish national envelope has to be protected, and even though there will be some small redistribution within Europe, because Ireland is in the average level of payments, there should be no redistribution from Ireland to the east or to any other country. So that's the first. Secondly, we're saying that the payment has to be targeted at active farmers, and in particular the farmers who have built up that payment over the years through a huge investment in their farms, whether it's sheds, stock or output, because that output is essential for the Irish economy. And as of the moment, the only model we see that nearest reflects that is the historical model, with a national reserve to deal with new entrants. Now, if the Commission can come up with another proposal that mirrors that and means the farmers who put that in place and have a big investment on their farm will be protected, we'll look at it. But as of the moment, we see no model that comes anywhere near as accurate as the historical to reflect the level of investment on farms and the level of activity.